Hi, this is Vinny from the iMoot team. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce a man who needs no introduction, but I shall introduce him anyway. Scott Huntley, talking about 26 tips to make you a better Moodler. Thank you very much for presenting yet again at the iMoot, Scott, and I hope everyone enjoys Scott's presentation this afternoon, this evening, or this morning, wherever you are.
Well, thank you very much, Vinny, and here we go. So, hi, I'm Scott, and there is absolutely no time for a proper introduction, so hopefully you know me. If not, then you'll get to know me. I've got 45 minutes approximately at the most, 26 tips, that's 103 seconds per tip. If you know me, you know that I can really talk and ramble. So I gotta talk fast, I gotta keep moving. I'm Scott, that's all you need to know. So why 26 tips? I run Fortnightly tips at learn.pukunui.com. That's a free webinar that we do every fortnight showing you a little Moodle tip or trick. So this is actually a co-product presentation with Fortnightly tips. And so tomorrow morning is my scheduled Fortnightly tips. So that presentation is going to be presented live from iMoot. And probably we don't have any Fortnightly tips people in here today because they're not used to doing it on a Thursday night. So 26 tips is a year's worth of Fortnightly homework. So that's why we're doing 26. So let's get started. Tip number 1, make a backup. Immediately after watching this, go make a backup. Specifically, I want you to make a backup of your Moodle courses. But while we're on the subject, let's be honest, what's the last time you backed up anything? World Backup Day was March 31st. Put that in your calendar. Do it right now. And every 6 months, go back up all your stuff. Now that that's said, let's talk about backing up your Moodle courses. Teachers can do this. As a teacher, you should take the responsibility to back up your course. Back it up definitely at the end of term, but back it up every now and then anyway. Don't assume your Moodle admin will do this for you. Moodle admin, don't assume your teachers will back up, so you guys got to do the backups as well. Backups, you want them. Tip number 2, register your Moodle. Easy thing to do. You go to this address right here that tells you all about registering your Moodle. And when you actually register your Moodle, you'll receive emails, notifications anytime there's a new version or important security upgrades. You want to pay attention to those emails that are come. And it's going to make your life easier when you try to install plugins too. But one thing, don't register a dev site because that's kind of foolish. Any kind of sandbox dev sort of site. Tip number 3, I love this one. Follow the Moodle YouTube account. So go to this address right here. That's the Moodle HQ YouTube account. They do lots of great videos in terms of they're going to show new features videos. So all the new 3.3 videos have come out. They're showing us everything that's new and how to use it in 3.3. And they also include a lot of great videos of selected presentations from Moodle Moots run by Moodle HQ. And you might want to check out this guy's awesome presentation. But there's some really, truly great stuff inside there. And while you're at that, you might want to check out these other YouTube channels. HRDNZ, the New Zealand Moodle partner. A couple of those people are around here tonight. They run Moodle Bytes. They have a YouTube channel inside there, some really cool information. And yeah, Pukunui has released the iMoot archives. So if you didn't attend iMoot 2016, it's in there right now. You can go watch that. 2015. Also the mini iMoots. They don't have 2016 mini iMoot up yet, but I imagine that will come around mini iMoot time. So you can watch all the old presentations. Great stuff. Tip number 4, try switching your format. So many people, I see them, they're stuck in this weekly format, and they just assume, that's the only format. There's a lot of other formats out there. Maybe weekly works for your course. When I was actually teaching, I found that topics worked a lot better, so I switched immediately to topics. I didn't want to break up stuff by weeks. Some courses that make sense. For myself, I work with other, like the topics. But there's a lot of other great formats out there. I love Grid, and I love One Topic. Those are my 2 favorites. There is an iMoot presentation for this, Horses for Courses, which is all about course formats, and it's by Dom. He's an iMoot guy. He's my boss. So check out that presentation. Follow that link, and you'll get information about that. Tip number 5, learn how to use the question bank. I love the question bank, and it's so useful. And every time I come across somebody who's not really sure what it is, I'm just like, we got to get you into the question bank. So the question bank is when you have a quiz on your site, you can build a huge bank of questions. And then you can actually make it so that your quiz will draw questions from this question bank. And you can even do something like you're going to draw n random questions from the question bank. So 10 random questions. I got to tell you, as a teacher, when I was doing blended learning, I loved it. I love quiz time because I saw all my students, and as they're all sneaking around trying to look over each other's shoulders, they start to realize, I don't have the same questions as everybody else. And I'm up there laughing. I love that. You can draw these random questions, gets rid of the cheating problem. Because they're going to spend more time trying to figure out who's got which question than actually doing the quiz. And it's really cool because you can actually use the categories inside there. So look inside the categories inside the question bank. So this is really great for, you can do stuff like you're going to draw n questions from categories X. So back when I was teaching at TAFE, this was good for ASCII compliance because I could actually build a question category which would test people on the unit and the actual elements inside that unit, and I could just have a bunch of questions just related to that. So that way I knew I was testing against that particular performance criteria. And I could, categorize my questions that way, build together a quiz that draws upon all these criteria, and I'm definitively positive I'm covering all the material inside that unit. And you can think of, if you have no idea what ASCII is, that's fine. You can think of this also like, maybe you're teaching chemistry, high school chemistry. You build like a category for organic chemistry, inorganic chemistry, a category on the periodic table. And you can put in your questions in there. When you build your quiz, you want to draw 3 questions about the periodic table. And there you go. Everybody's got different questions. And categories can go across the course. They can go across the course category. They can go across the site level. So you can standardize some questions. Maybe you want to have standardized questions across courses. This is how you do it. Get into that question bank, learn about it. There's a link up there. It takes you to the Moodle docs. You'll learn all about the question bank. Lovely stuff. Learn how to use the gradebook. Tip number 6. I actually never used the gradebook when I was actually teaching. We had to put in our grades manually into another system, so I was like, oh, this is pointless. I can't believe that. Now I'm looking back. This was so powerful. The gradebook was amazing. Now that I'm actually doing this consulting work, we're building gradebooks left, right, and center. It's great because students actually see the feedback for what courses they're getting. So they'll actually see how well they're doing. So a nice format for the students, good for the teacher. They can actually take a look. It's all laid out for them. And you can categorize your grade items. So you can do something like, okay, well, we're going to build in a quizzes category, and we're going to put in, all the 5 quizzes that they have to do. We've got an essays category. We've got the 2 essays. So you can actually structure it out. And you can even do stuff like you're going to select the best 4 to 5 quizzes. You can do all kinds of crazy formulas as well. You can pick like the lowest and the highest quiz, or the lowest and the highest mark, do an average of the marks, all kinds of stuff. Super powerful. Get in there, learn about the gradebook. Tip number 7, badges. You want to learn about badges. Badges are a fun way to engage your learners. Think of it kind of like a Girl Guide or Boy Scout badges. So when I was in Boy Scouts, we had a sash and we sewed on badges. Anytime you did something cool or whatever, you got a badge. You can do this inside your Moodle courses. So you can give out badges if people complete activities or courses. You can also manually issue them. You can just give them out to students. You can set an expiry date. So I could create a Student of the Week badge, and that's going to automatically expire after 7 days. You can do all kinds of cool stuff with this. Incredibly easy to set up a badge in Moodle. If you want a badge, guess what? You already got one. By being in this room, you've got a badge. So go back and take a look. You've been awarded badges. If you want to find a place to make badges and you are completely graphic designically impaired, makebadge.es is a great place where you can go in, and it's a nice little interface, help you make a nice little cool badge. And you can actually take badges across sites using the Mozilla Backpack. So I've got badges from a couple different Moodles. I put them into my Mozilla Backpack, and I can actually store them, but I can actually put them into other Moodles as well. So learn all about badges. I believe I've got a link inside there. Oh my gosh, maybe I don't have a link. I have to update this PDF because there's a link inside there to the Moodle documentation about badges. Tip number 8, turn on completion tracking. It might be automatically on by default in your Moodle, but in a lot of the Moodles I work with, by default, it's not automatically on. completion tracking is so helpful. Go into edit settings for the course, completion tracking, enable completion tracking. That way you can actually set conditions which will indicate when a student has completed an activity. So you can do that automatically. So some conditions like a student has to view a page, maybe that would trigger a completion. You can set it up so that maybe the student just ticks it off themselves. So they manually can tick it off. Or you can do stuff, all kinds of stuff. The student has to submit an assignment. That triggers a completion. Fantastic stuff. I love completion tracking. It is worth it for the completion report alone. Even if you don't do anything else with it, that completion report is a beautiful way to look at all your students and see exactly where they are. And you can see what they're actually working on. I think it's fantastic. And in fact, there's a Fortnightly tip on this topic. You click on that, you'll go to my Fortnightly tips page. The last fortnight, we actually did completion tracking. Tip number 9, learn how to use restrict access creatively. Restrict access is awesome. I love restrict access. You can actually restrict a student's ability to either interact with an activity or resource or hide it away completely. So they can either see that it's there and they just can't interact with it, or they don't even see it at all. So it's really cool. You can base it on date, you can base it on group, you can base it on grade, you can base it on user profile information, you can base it on activity completion, or a combination of all of this. So some of the examples, you can set up a midterm break message, only shows up during the midterm break. How cool is that? You can set up a tab so we could actually get into the topics, one topic format, set up a tab inside there that only users with the emails ending in @pukunui.com could see that. So that way it's only messages that maybe there's some template information that I want to give to my fellow team members. We could also do something like you're only going to deliver topic 2 when the quiz for topic 1 is deleted. So you can actually daisy chain out your actual delivery of information. There are some fantastic plugins. Follow that link. Fantastic plugins. You can extend this even more. I was taking a look at some of the ones. You have course completion, so you can hide away a certificate until they complete the course. They had some that were not just date dependent, but offset date dependent. So like 7 days after a student enrolls, do something. Some really cool stuff with that. And oh yeah, there was one that was based upon PayPal. I thought that was fantastic. You could hide away content unless people pay something. So maybe you want to put in like an ebook into your course and you put it away. That's another way you could actually sell your ebook. I thought that was a clever idea. I don't know how many people are doing that in the wild. If you know somebody, let me know in the chat. There is a Fortnightly tip on this topic. It's the same Fortnightly tip as tip number 8. So take a look at that if you get a chance. Tip number 10, learn to love the things you hate. I hate the database activity. It's hard to use, time-consuming, hard to set up. I couldn't figure out why anybody ever would want to use this. Well, I'm going to tell you, you have to break yourself out of that shell. You have to challenge yourself. And one of the things that I do is I go through Moodle and I identify stuff like the database that I hate using, and I say, I got to learn this. And you have to stop using the activities and resources you love. Try using one that you hate this week. And I looked for it, but it must have been at iMoot, Mini-Moot 2016. Somebody does a great presentation on this. Sarah Ashley does a great presentation on database, and I was going to link to that. She has 5 ways that you can use the database creatively. And yeah, so watch for that, because I bet you in November that's going to go up on Pukunui's YouTube channel, and I'm going to watch that one, tear it to pieces. I'm going to learn to love the database activity. It's one of your favorites. How can you stand? Okay, it doesn't matter. Don't read the chat. Don't have time to read the chat. Keep going. Tip number 11, kill your darlings. I am not going crazy right now. This is an actual expression. So when filmmakers are editing their movies, occasionally they have to kill their darlings, and by that they mean there's a scene that they love, but it doesn't fit the flow of the film. It takes people out of the film. This can be applied to a Moodle course. Sometimes there's a piece of your Moodle course, there's something in your course that you love, but you know you've shoehorned it in and it's not fitting. Have the courage to kill it. Kill your darlings. And you know what? This is probably true of many aspects of your life. I'm just saying, have the courage to kill your darlings. Tip number 12, make a template course. Definitely you got to do this. So I did this back when I was a teacher. Me and another teacher, we got together. We built a perfect Moodle template. So you have to, this is where you're going to build your perfect course. You're going to add in all your bells and whistles. You're going to add in your activity completion, conditional topics. So we set up, the choice activity and the student assessment guides, and they had to agree that they had read the student assessment guides before it opened up all the other stuff and so forth. You can put in that beautiful teacher intro section, like the one that I built this morning in my Bootstrap presentation. So if you take a look at my other presentation, you can see me tomorrow at 5 p.m., I believe. This is where you're going to build all your showcase pieces. You're going to do your A/B testing. You're going to sit down with your team. You're going to see what works, what doesn't work. Build this perfect Moodle template course and keep it there in your sandbox. Back it up, and when you've got a new course that you want to set up, restore that back up and start from there. Or you could just import the pieces that you need. So we just need the teacher introduction. That's fine. I'll just go to the import, pull that into my new course. Love that stuff. Did you know you can import groups? Tip 13, true story. I was out on a consult with a client, and the client came to me and they said they had to use the same groups across multiple courses. Now, of course, I said, well, why aren't you using cohorts? There was a real reason why they couldn't use cohorts. They had to use groups, and just accept that they had to use groups. So they said to me, we want to know if we're doing this right. We make a backup of the course. The only thing we back up is the group. And then we go into the other courses and we restore that backup into the other courses, and it just restores the groups. We're scared we're doing it wrong. And I went, oh my God, that's brilliant. I never thought of that. That is the most brilliant thing. I love this. You can import groups. You can back up just a group and restore just a group over a course. There you go. You're taking that group and you're putting it across your courses. Fantastic stuff. Tip number 14, be cool about copyright. Hey, I need a photo, Sydney. I'm just going to go to Google Images, search, use whatever that comes up, right? No, do not do this. That's bad mojo. That's bad karma. You can't just grab whatever photo you want off the internet. You should actually be buying them from a stock footage company, but who's got the money for that? Look into Creative Commons, and you can actually take a look for photos and other material as well that you can reuse. You can look for ones that you can modify, reuse it inside your course. And if you're going to use some Creative Commons, I would suggest, why don't you consider putting material back into the Creative Commons? So why don't you release it into the Creative Commons? This doesn't apply just to pictures. It can be videos, it can be music, it can be all kinds of stuff. And hey, let's think about copyright in terms of music. Have you ever played Wait Music in a BB or Adobe Connect session while you're waiting for students? I've seen this before. Teachers put on some ABBA or something like that. Do they have the copyright to do that? No, they don't. So don't do that. Be cool about it. Tip number 15, get a dev Moodle. You need a dev Moodle. A dev Moodle is a development Moodle. This is a place where you can actually go in and you can try all kinds of weird stuff. You don't want to try it on your live production Moodle. If you go inside there, you break something, all kinds of bad things are going to happen. I always break things. Destroying data is a bad thing. Destroying user data is a bad thing. Just taking down a site before so people can't actually upload their activities or their assignments and so forth, bad idea. You have to set up another server. So you could do this a couple of different ways. I prefer to use it in Amazon Web Services micro instance. So my dev Moodle is sitting there. You can do shared hosting as well. You can also do the idea of a local instance. So if you go to the Moodle's download page, there's actually a place there where you can download a image either for Mac or for Windows, and it's going to install the web server, the database, all that stuff on your computer, and you can actually connect to it, and that will act as like a little local dev Moodle. Now, I wouldn't say any other people around the world can connect to it. I mean, there's all kinds of problems there. They'd have to know your IP address, and you'd have to open up your firewall. Since you don't want to do that. You just want to have a place where just you can connect. And at the very least, you want to build a sandpit category on your Moodle that students don't have access to, and you can get in there and you can do all kinds of stuff. Why do you want to do this? Because again, you don't want to break an actual real live production Moodle that students are using. I love my dev Moodle. It's a mess, but I love it. Tip number 16, try to break your dev Moodle. Hey, if you've got a dev Moodle, you might as well go nuts, go crazy. Install weird plugins, see if they work. You don't want to do it on your production, do it here. Install a crazy theme, and flick all the switches and twist all the dials. Some of the themes out there, you've seen them. You know what I'm talking about. The list of options is a mile long. This is where you want to test that. This is where you want to have some fun. You want to use your dev Moodle to do your A/B testing. So you build the course one way, build it another way, or build a piece this way, and you go and check with your team. Hey, does this work? Does this not work? Go for it. That's where you want to try all your HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, JavaScript stuff. So in my other presentation, I was talking about Bootstrap packs. This is where you want to do it, inside your dev Moodle. Hey, can a teacher include JavaScript in a label? Let's try it on my dev Moodle. And if they can, what does that mean? That might be a bad thing. Might be a good thing. Who knows? Let's go find out. Go nuts. Try to break your dev Moodle. I've got a story to tell you about this. Do I have time? I'm doing great for time. So yeah, at another consult, somebody asked me they wanted to change a drag and drop question type, and I got into I downloaded the plugin, got into the code, made some modifications. Hey, I know PHP, right? Uploaded it, and yeah, totally killed the Moodle. Like, absolutely killed it. That's why I have a dev Moodle, because it took me like a couple hours to get everything back to where it was. So you don't want to do that on a production. Definitely not. Tip 17, learn a little HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. If you really want to make your courses look sweet, you're going to have to get your hands dirty. So you're going to have to learn about HTML and CSS. They're the languages of the web. They're the ways that you actually can build some really cool stuff. And look, wherever there's an auto editor in Moodle, you can get in and edit the HTML code. Bootstrap is a great way to add design elements to your course with a minimum amount of work. Many themes use Bootstrap. Boost, that's the default one in 3.2. Essential, very popular theme, and Gareth is around at this iMoot. You can talk to him about that. Get in there, use some Bootstrap. Take a look at the Bootstrap sites, take a look at the documentation, let them inspire you. What different ways can you add Bootstrap? Maybe you can add some CSS. Maybe you can get in, edit the tables. Tables are really hard to edit inside that auto editor. I'm an HTML guy. I go in and I'm like, screw this, I'll write my own table. I know HTML code for tables. Is there an iMoot presentation on this? There is. It's my presentation. You can watch either the replay or you can catch me live tomorrow. I believe I'm on at 5 p.m. Check the schedule. Well, that doesn't mean anything. 5 p.m. New time. Sorry. Tip 18, try some plugins. The M in Moodle is for modular. So I've already talked about plugins. Trying new plugins is a great use for your dev Moodle themes, course formats, question types. There's some cool question types out there. Activity restrictions, I already talked about that. There's some that I'm just like dying to play with. Assignment submission methods, so shout out to Justin with Poodle. The list goes on and on. Go take a look at all the various plugins, all the various ways you can extend your Moodle. And there is a great presentation. I saw this like 2 hours ago. The top 50 Moodle plugins by Stuart. They looks like they're doing some great stuff there at Moodle Bytes with their plugins sites there. So take a look at his presentation where he explains that. Looks like some cool stuff. Why do you want to try this on your dev and not your production? Well, I already explained that. Sometimes things can go wrong, and you do not want to find out there's a problem with this plugin 2 hours before there's a major exam. Tip number 19, sign up for a MOOC. What's a MOOC? I hate MOOCs because of the name, but I love the concept. It's a weird sounding name. It's a multiple open online course. It means it's a course, usually it's free. I've never seen one that's not free, but I'm not going to say that they don't exist. But it's a place where you, of course there are. It's a place where you can actually all sign up for to learn something new. So one of the ones here, Moodle has a MOOC site right there. You go take a look at that. Learn how to use Moodle. You can learn all kinds of cool tricks and tips that, even if you think you know Moodle, maybe you're going to learn something new. Again, HRDNZ, these guys are running a free Moodle mobile MOOC, teaching you all about how to use the mobile app or the mobile version of the website. It just started-ish but then I was looking at that May 1st. We're actually May 18th, so it started a while ago. And yeah, you might have to wait for the next time that comes around for that one. Yeah, pretty cool. There's lots of awesome MOOCs out there, so keep your eyes open. Find something and, yeah, learn something new that you didn't know before. Tip 20, listen to a Moodle podcast. Yeah, are you a podcast listener? I am a huge podcast listener. I'm listening to podcasts all the time, daily. You know, I'm an expat, so I'm always listening to Canadian news and stuff. There is a Moodle podcast, the free Moodle podcast, again by HRDNZ. These guys do everything. It's a monthly podcast. I just found it. I listened my first time on May 1st. It came out, and it was all about iMoot. So of course I had to listen to that. But yeah, it's great that people are doing this sort of stuff. I've added it to my podcast catcher, iTunes, whatever. So I'm going to keep listening. Great stuff out there. While we're on that, maybe I'll plug my thing. Hey, you can always go take a look at our free webinar every fortnight called Fortnightly Tips. Take a look for that at learn.pukunui.com. Tip 21, join the Moodle Users Association. So I'm a member of the Moodle Users Association. I joined like the first month you could. It's a not-for-profit organization. Helps support Moodle. Members can actually put forward a project proposal, and you get some votes. Depending upon your level of membership, you get a different number of votes, and you can actually vote towards them pursuing a project. So it's a great way to get involved in the development and support of Moodle. I'm a big fan of the Moodle Users Association. $110 yearly. Yeah, that's nothing. Yeah, so I get involved. I love that association. I encourage you to join as well. Go to a Moot or a meetup. Tip 22. So hey, you're at a Moot. Congratulations, you've done this one. iMoot is awesome. There's also some awesome real-life Moots. Of course, you know about these, right? So the Moodle calendar has upcoming Moots. I've been to the Australian one. The Australian one is coming up in, oh, Scott, why are you doing this on the fly? Why didn't you make notes? September? Somebody correct me. There's all kinds of awesome ones. I was already at a Moot this year in Japan. I love the Japan Moot. A big fan. Talk to me about that at Orange's Cafe. Great organization. I've been to the New Zealand ones. I love the New Zealand one. Yeah, they just have one in October of 2016, so we'll see when the next one comes out. So many Moots around the world. Go take a look at that Moodle calendar. And while you're at that, though, you might want to take a look at this website here, meetup.com. Meetup, you might have a local Moodle user meetup. So this is kind of like, it's not really a Moot, it's a meeting. They maybe held once a month. People get together, Moodlers, they talk about Moodle stuff. So we have a group here in Sydney, and it wasn't super active. I don't think we've had a meeting for a while. We keep trying to get it off the ground. We keep meaning to get together. But there's plenty of groups out there. Potentially you have a meetup in your city. I actually go to another one. There's a learning designer one meetup that I go into the city once a month. It's great. You get to socialize, you get to talk to people, you get to bounce ideas off people. I think it's awesome. And that brings me to tip 23. Socialize at a Moot. For heaven's sakes, if you're going to go to a Moot, don't hide in the corner. It's going to be a terrible time if you just don't meet people. Get in there, be brave, get out and meet people. So introduce yourself to a speaker that you enjoyed after their presentation, not during. Come up and say, hey, in the hallway, hey, that was great. I really love that. Let's talk about some ideas. I have some thoughts. Don't be afraid of these people. They're there to talk to you as well. So everybody wants to talk. Talk to the people sitting near you during in the conference hall during breaks. Don't talk during the presentation, obviously. Attend the social events. If there's a dinner, if there's a social night out, if there's bowling, go do it. Meet these people. This is your professional development network, and the way you're going to meet them is by talking to them. Get yourself a Twitter account and start tweeting on the hashtag. I cannot stress this enough. That's how you're going to meet people. That's going to how you're going to meet your virtual friends, and you're going to love to meet them in the real world. So hang out in Orange's Cafe. That's going to be our hallway track. Come to Orange's Cafe when that's on and talk to people. Just chat. Just have some fun. Throw ideas out there. Tweet on iMoot. Tweet all kinds of good stuff. Don't tweet bad stuff. And yeah, get social. I love that. You got to do that. Tip 24. Hey, here's a wild thought. Go to a non-Moodle conference or a meetup. So to be a better Moodler, there should be an R there, Moodler, you need to push yourself beyond Moodle. Don't get trapped in a bubble. Find inspiration everywhere. So there's plenty of other education conferences. So I've got a couple of the ones here in Australia, New Zealand. Ask a Light, that's coming up in December. EduTech is coming up. It's like in June. It's almost upon us. FLANS, that was a conference that I attended last year. NCVER, that's one down in Hobart. I want to get to that one this year. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it. All kinds of great education ones. So many that I couldn't possibly name them. I just picked 4. That said, also go to the other end. Go to other tech conferences. I'm not crazy. You should do this. So like WordCamp is a WordPress conference, and it's super cheap. There's WordCamps all around the globe. If you know me, you know I'm a WordPresser as well as a Moodler. There's one coming up in Brisbane. I'm definitely going to make a strong effort to go and to speak if I can. LinuxConf, don't know so much about that one, but I've got a lot of friends who go to LinuxConf. DrupalCon, I put that one in there because I have some friends who are Drupalers. BuzzConf was a great conference here in Australia where they talk about, it's like a technology festival. They talk about all the cool new stuff. I think you should go to these events just because you want to get yourself out of the education bubble and go talk to other people about technology. The BuzzConf ones, there was like lots of IoT stuff. So lots of interesting, and they were talking about how to educate kids. They were talking about STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, how to do that sort of education. And it was an education conference, even though it wasn't. WordCamp is probably a really accessible one if you're just a teacher, because those people are going to be talking. You're going to meet a lot of bloggers. So WordCamp usually it has the techie people, but it also has like the non-techie blogger type people. This is where you want to go. You want to build your professional development network outside of just the Moodlers. You want to, reach out to all these people. At WordCamp, you're going to find the SEO people. You're going to find the people who know about hosting. You're going to find your PHP experts. PHPCon, I should have put that one inside there. Tap into deeper inspiration, get outside the Moodle bubble, find out what information is out there, and bring it back to our community. Tip number 25, present at a Moot. I am not crazy. Everybody has a story to share. We want to hear your story. Be brave, submit a proposal. I expect and demand you all to answer the call for proposals for the next iMoot. I know that some people are like, oh, I'm too scared. I'd never know. I'd be terrible at it. Look, I put in for a presentation at Moodle Moot Australia 2015, and I put in the most ridiculous of ideas, the IoT and Moodle, and I thought, I'm never even getting in. What's the point? And they picked me to be a guest speaker. So I was in the big hall, and I watched that video. You'll see how nervous I was. If I can do it, you all can do it. And I met so many people out of that experience. I am so glad that I did it. Be brave, be out there, and present. We want to hear your story. You've got the case study. I don't know what your case study is. I don't know what your story is. I don't know what you're doing with Moodle. I know it's something interesting. I believe in you, and I want to see your presentation. I want to see you talk about what you're doing with Moodle. So next iMoot, that's your homework. Everybody's going to do it. Present at iMoot. Or any other Moot. We want to hear your stories. Everybody's got a story. And tip 26, join me Fortnightly tips every fortnight. So tomorrow, I'm going to be hosting my Fortnightly tips here live from iMoot. It's our webinar. It's a Fortnightly webinar. A way to, I just cover a tip or trick, one particular topic, and I go inside there. You can take a look at that. That's at learn.pukunui.com. On June 2nd, that's going to be the next fortnight, so 15 days from now, I'm going to do how to use Big Blue Button. And it's going to be interesting because I'm going to be presenting on Big Blue Button about Big Blue Button. So I'm going to try to stay up for, I think Fred from Big Blue Button is presenting a sponsor session tonight, and it's like in the middle of the night for me, but I'm going to try to set my alarm to try to be there because I want to learn some tips about how I'm going to actually present this. So Fortnightly tips, it's a fairly new thing. I'm having a lot of fun with it, and you can all join. Join now, and you can watch previously Fortnightly tips, and join me for future ones. And thank you very much. Not too bad. 5:33. I was only 33 minutes. I thought I was going to go the full 45. So lots of time for questions and comments, and tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm right. Give me some feedback. Thank you. Thank you. Suresh, you're a WordCamp organizer. Where is that at? Or Sam Suresh. I'm sorry, I read your last name. Sam, you're a WordCamp organizer. Where's that at? I saw that come up in the in Kuala Lumpur. Oh, excellent. When's that at? November 2017. Oh, you got me tempted. Maybe I'll put in a I'll answer the call for proposals. Yeah, I've spoken at 2 WordCamps here in Sydney. Yeah, so I'm my first love was WordPress. I've moved over to Moodle, and yeah, I love both of them. So yeah, November 2017, and I can visit Singapore after WordCamp. I'd love to visit Singapore. I've been meaning to get up there. Yeah, I definitely think, that's one of the things. You got to get out there. You got to explore new horizons. Don't get trapped in the bubble, and that goes for the WordPress people too. Some of them trapped in the bubble. You got to get out. You got to see other things. You got to meet other meetups, talk to other people outside your world. Definitely a big fan of that. Yeah, and also with the education world too. There's some great education conferences out there as well. Yeah, we are almost blessed with them. I take a look at I have to track some of the education conferences in my calendar, and wow, I can't possibly attend all the ones that we have in the area around me, and I wish I could. Dot, interesting stuff. Dot says something about one of the best users of Big Blue Button at this Moot was Abhishek. I did see his presentation. Smooth transitions between the PDF and desktop sharing. Yeah, that's a tricky one. I always stumble when I go to do the desktop sharing. I'm glad I didn't have to do that for this presentation. In fact, I probably should have changed layouts. I actually prefer to present on this layout, but yeah, that's fine. The default layout works pretty good too. Thank you very much, Trish. I appreciate that. I hope that I provided you with some thoughts. A couple tips. I know that some of the tips people already knew, but yeah, I hope that people got a little bit of information out of that. Or inspiration. Information and inspiration. Excellent. Good. I like to see new people registering for my tips. Thank you very much.
Hi, this is Vinny again from the iMoot team. I'd just like to jump in and take this opportunity to thank you again for presenting, Scott. A very valuable presentation, and I'm sure everybody got a lot out of it.
Oh, so, thank you very much.
So thank you once more. I shall stop the recording. You're obviously all welcome to hang out here for a bit longer and carry on the conversations, or start thinking about the next session.
Thank you.